Imagine for a moment that you are holding 5 precious gems in your hand. These gems represent 5 aspects of your life that are so valuable, so crucial to your success and well-being, that you should guard them with all your might. You see, in this world of constant sharing and oversharing, we have forgotten the power of keeping certain things close to our chest. We have forgotten that some treasures are best kept hidden, not because we're dishonest, but because we're smart. Because we understand that success often hinges on discretion. So what are these 5 things you should never share with anyone? Lean in close, because I'm about to share with you some of the most powerful secrets of success I have learned in my decades on this earth. Number 1, your dreams and goals. Now, you might be thinking, but shouldn't I share my dreams? Isn't that what all those motivational posters tell me to do? Well, let me tell you something. Those posters are wrong. Dead wrong. Your dreams and goals are the fuel that drives you forward. They're the fire in your belly that gets you out of bed in the morning when everyone else is hitting the snooze button. They're also fragile. Oh, so fragile. You see, when you share your dreams with others, you are exposing them to the harsh winds of reality. You are letting other people's doubts, fears, and negativity seep into your vision. And before you know it, that crystal clear picture of success in your mind starts to get a little fuzzy around the edges. But it's not just about protecting your dreams from negativity. It's about protecting your motivation. When you share your goals, you get a little hit of satisfaction. Your brain thinks, oh, I have told someone about my goal. That means I'm making progress. But you are not. You are just talking. And talking doesn't build empires, my friends. Let me give you an example. Imagine you have a dream of starting your own business. It's a revolutionary idea, something that could change the game in your industry. Now, picture yourself at a family dinner, excitedly sharing your plans. Your Uncle Bob, who's never taken a risk in his life, starts listing all the reasons it won't work. Your cousin Sarah, who's always been a bit jealous, subtly undermines your confidence. And suddenly that bright, shiny dream of yours starts to look a little tarnished. But what if, instead of sharing, you had kept that dream to yourself? What if you had spent that energy researching your market, developing your product, creating your business plan? By the time your family found out about your business, you would already be well on your way to success. And their doubts, they'd be drowned out by the sound of your victory. So, keep those dreams close to your chest. Nurture them in the quiet moments of the morning, in the stillness of the night. Let them grow strong and sturdy before you expose them to the world. Because once they're strong enough, once you have taken enough action, you won't need to tell anyone about your dreams. They will see them manifested in your success. Remember, the greatest achievements in history didn't start with a public announcement. They started with a quiet determination, a secret fire burning in the heart of someone who dared to dream big and work hard in silence. Number 2, your finances. Now, this is a big one. In today's world, it seems like everyone's flashing their bank balance on social media, posting pictures of their new car, their fancy vacations, their designer clothes. But let me tell you something, real wealth is silent. When you start sharing your financial situation with others, you are opening up a can of worms. If you are doing well, you might attract the wrong kind of attention. Suddenly, everyone's got a great investment opportunity for you. Or worse, they start treating you differently, expecting handouts or special treatment. And if you are struggling, well, that's nobody's business but your own. Sharing your financial troubles doesn't magically make money appear in your bank account. All it does is make you vulnerable. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you have just landed a big promotion at work. It comes with a significant pay raise, and you are excited. So excited that you decide to share the news with your friends over dinner. You tell them about your new salary, thinking they will be happy for you. But what happens instead? One friend starts hinting about that loan you never paid back. Another suddenly remembers a business idea they've been meaning to pitch to you. And a third, they just sit there, a forced smile on their face, as envy starts to eat away at your friendship. Now imagine a different scenario. You get that same promotion, that same pay raise, but instead of telling everyone, you keep it to yourself. You use that extra money to pay off debts, to invest in your future, to create a safety net for yourself and your family. Your lifestyle doesn't change dramatically, but your peace of mind, it skyrockets. And your relationships, they stay exactly as they were, untainted by financial comparisons or expectations. But there's another reason to keep your finances private, and it's all about mindset. When you're constantly talking about money, whether you have it or you don't, you are putting too much focus on the wrong thing. You are making money the goal, instead the tool it really is. Remember, money is just a means to an end. It's not the measure of your worth as a human being. It's not the key to happiness. It's simply a tool that, when used wisely, can help you achieve your goals and live the life you want. Think about the most successful people you know. I'm not talking about the flashy ones on TV, but the truly successful ones. The ones who have built something lasting, who have made a real difference in the world. Do you know how much money they have in their bank account? Do you know what their salary is? Chances are you don't. Because truly successful people understand that their financial situation is their business and no one else's. So, keep your financial situation to yourself. Work on it in private. Celebrate your wins silently. And if you are struggling, seek help from professionals, not from your social circle. Because at the end of the day, your bank balance is between you and your bank. Nobody else needs to know. Number 3, your personal struggles. Now, I know what you're thinking, but isn't it good to open up? To be vulnerable? And yes, to a certain extent, it is. But there's a fine line between being open and oversharing, and let me tell you, that line is where success is built. Everyone's got struggles. Everyone's fighting battles that others know nothing about. But the most successful people, they fight those battles in private. They don't air their dirty laundry for the world to see. Why? Because your personal struggles are just that. Personal. They're the challenges that are shaping you, molding you into the person you are meant to become. But when you share them with the world, you are inviting opinions, judgments, and advice that you didn't ask for and probably don't need. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are going through a tough time at work. Maybe your project isn't going as planned, or you are having conflicts with a colleague. Now, picture yourself venting about this on social media or to anyone who will listen. What happens? Suddenly everyone's got an opinion. Your Aunt Mary tells you to quit your job. Your college buddy suggests you confront your boss. Your neighbor thinks you should just toughen up. And in the midst of all this noise, you lose sight of your own inner voice, your own wisdom. But what if, instead, you had kept these struggles to yourself? What if you had used them as fuel to work harder, to find innovative solutions, to grow as a professional? By the time anyone noticed you were having difficulties, you would have already overcome them and emerged stronger. When you are constantly talking about your problems, you are giving them power. You are making them the center of your universe. And let me tell you something, my friends, what you focus on expands. If you are always talking about how hard things are, guess what? Things are going to keep being hard. But if you face your struggles head on in private with determination and grit, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to overcome. A time when you were facing a significant challenge. Maybe it was a health issue, a relationship problem, or a setback in your career. Now, think about the people who knew about it. Were their reactions always helpful? Did their advice always apply to your unique situation? Chances are, the answers to these questions are no. Now, I'm not saying you should never seek help. If you are dealing with serious issues, by all means, Talk to a professional. But for the everyday struggles, the challenges that are part of the journey to success, keep those to yourself. Use them as fuel for your fire, not as topics for casual conversation. Remember, the world doesn't need to know about every obstacle you face. What the world needs is to see you overcoming those obstacles, rising above, achieving greatness. And that, my friends, is something that happens in silence, in the quiet moments of perseverance that nobody else sees. Number 4, your next big move. In the game of life, and especially in the world of business, the element of surprise is your secret weapon. Your next big move, whether it's a career change, a new business venture, or a bold personal decision, should be kept under wraps until the moment is right. When you share your plans prematurely, you are essentially showing your hand before the game even begins. You are giving your competition a chance to react, to prepare, to potentially undermine your efforts before you have even started. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young entrepreneur who had a brilliant idea for a new product. He was so excited about it that he couldn't help but share it with everyone he met. He talked about it at networking events. He posted about it on social media. He even discussed it in detail with his supplier. And you know what happened? By the time he was ready to launch, 3 other companies had already beaten him to market with similar products. His brilliant idea was no longer unique, and his business struggled as a result. Now imagine if he had kept his idea to himself, if he had worked on it in secret, perfecting his product, securing his supply chain, preparing his marketing strategy. When he finally launched, it would have taken the market by storm. His competitors would have been caught off guard, scrambling to catch up. That's the power of keeping your next big move to yourself. But it's not just about strategy, it's about energy. When you're planning something big, something that could change the course of your life, you need all the positive energy you can get. You need to be laser focused, completely committed. But what happens when you start sharing your plans? Suddenly, you're spending your energy explaining your vision to others, defending it against doubts and criticisms. You are wasting precious time and mental resources on talk when you should be focusing on action. When you are baking a cake, do you open the oven every 5 minutes to check on it? Of course not. You know that every time you open that oven door, you are letting heat escape, interfering with the baking process. Your plans, your next big move, they're like that cake. They need time to bake without interference. They need to be nurtured in the warm, quiet space of your mind and your hard work before they're ready to be served to the world. And let's not forget about the power of momentum. When you keep your plans to yourself, when you work in silence, you are building up a tremendous force. It's like a dam holding back a river. And when the time is right, when everything is in place, you release that force all at once. The impact is incredible. But if you let that energy trickle out bit by bit, sharing your plans with this person and that person, you are losing the power of that momentum. You are turning what could have been a tidal wave into a gentle stream. Remember, the greatest chess players don't announce their strategy before the game. They keep their opponents guessing. They stay 3 steps ahead. And when they finally make their move, it's decisive. It's powerful. It's game-changing. So, keep your next big move close to your chest. Let it simmer. Let it grow. Let it build up energy. Work on it diligently. Refine it. Perfect it. And when the time is right, when you are ready to take that leap, that's when you reveal your hand. That's when you show the world what you are truly capable of. Because in the end, it's not about who talks the biggest game. It's about who plays the smartest game. And the smartest players, they know the value of keeping their cards close to their number 5. Your inner circle. Now, this last one might surprise you. But let me tell you, it's perhaps the most important of all. Your inner circle, those handful of people who truly support you, who believe in you, who push you to be better. That's something you should guard fiercely. In this age of social media, where everyone's competing for followers and likes, we have lost sight of the value of real, deep connections. We have forgotten that it's not about how many people know your name. It's about how many people truly know your heart. Your inner circle is your fortress. It's where you can be yourself, where you can share your fears and doubts without judgment. It's where you find the strength to keep going when the world seems to be against you. Not everyone deserves a place in that inner circle. Not everyone has earned the right to know the real you, to be privy to your deepest thoughts and feelings. Let me share a personal story with you. Early in my career, I had what I thought was a large circle of friends and associates. I shared everything with them, my hopes, my fears, my plans for the future. I thought I was being open, building strong relationships. But you know what happened? When I hit a rough patch, when things weren't going as planned, most of those so-called friends disappeared. And worse, some of them used what they knew about me to their advantage to get ahead while I was struggling. It was a hard lesson, but an important one. I learned that true friendship, true support is rare and precious, and it needs to be protected. When you start sharing details about your inner circle, when you start letting just anyone into that sacred space, you are diluting its power. You are compromising the safety and trust that make it so valuable. In nature, the most precious resources are often the rarest. Gold, diamonds, platinum. They're valuable because they're scarce. Your inner circle should be the same way. It should be exclusive, carefully curated, fiercely protected. Now, I'm not saying you should be cold or unfriendly to people outside your inner circle. By all means, be kind, be professional, be a positive presence in the world. But remember that there's a difference between being friendly and letting everyone into your inner sanctum. Your inner circle should be like a board of directors for your life. These are the people who have proven their loyalty, who have earned your trust, who genuinely want to see you succeed. They're the ones who will tell you the hard truths when you need to hear them, who will support you when you are down, who will celebrate your victories as if they were their own. This inner circle isn't for show. It's not something you parade around or brag about. It's a quiet strength, a secret weapon in your journey to success. So, keep the details of your inner circle to yourself. Don't brag about your connections. Don't name drop. Don't exploit the trust of those closest to you for social gain. Instead, nurture those relationships in private. Invest in them, grow them, cherish them. Because at the end of the day, when the applause has faded and the spotlight has dimmed, it's your inner circle that will still be there, supporting you, believing in you, pushing you to greater heights. Your dreams and goals, your finances, your personal struggles, your next big move, and your inner circle. These are the crown jewels of your life, the things that, when protected and nurtured, have the power to propel you to unimaginable success. By keeping these things private, by guarding them closely, you are actually opening yourself up to greater possibilities. You are creating space for growth, for change, for transformation. When you are not constantly seeking validation from others, when you are not wasting energy on unnecessary explanations or defenses, you have more resources to invest in yourself. You have more time to work on your craft, to hone your skills, to pursue excellence. Excellence is not a destination. It's a journey. It's a constant process of becoming better today than you were yesterday. And that process, it happens in the quiet moments, in the private victories, in the silent battles that nobody else sees. Think about a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. Does it announce to the world that it's about to undergo this incredible change? Does it live stream its metamorphosis on social media? Of course not. It retreats into its cocoon, away from prying eyes, and emerges only when the transformation is complete. You are like that caterpillar. Your dreams, your struggles, your plans for the future, these are your cocoon. They're the sacred space where you transform, where you grow, where you become the person you are meant to be. Transformation, it's not always pretty. It's not always Instagram worthy. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's painful. And that's exactly why it needs to happen in private. Imagine if that caterpillar tried to go about its daily life while transforming. Imagine if it tried to explain to every passing ant or bee what was happening to it. It would be exhausting, wouldn't it? It would distract from the important work of change. The same is true for you. When you are working on yourself, when you are growing and changing and becoming, you need to focus all your energy on that process. You can't afford to waste time and mental resources explaining yourself to others who might not understand or support your journey. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but isn't that selfish? Shouldn't we share our journey to inspire others? And I understand where you are coming from. We live in a world that values transparency, that encourages us to share our truth at every turn. Have you ever tried to explain a dream to someone who just doesn't get it? Have you ever shared a goal only to be met with skepticism or worse, indifference? How did that make you feel? Did it energize you or did it deflate you? Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your evolution. Not everyone has earned the right to witness your struggles, your doubts, your moments of weakness. And more importantly, not everyone has the capacity to truly support you in those moments. That's why it's crucial to be selective about what you share and with whom you share it. It's not about being secretive or antisocial. It's about creating a safe space for your personal growth. A sanctuary where your dreams can take root and flourish without being trampled by the well-meaning but misguided opinions of others. Think about the great innovators throughout history. Do you think Thomas Edison announced to the world every failed attempt at creating the light bulb? Do you think Steve Jobs shared his doubts and setbacks with everyone he met? Of course not. They worked tirelessly in private, facing their challenges head-on, and only revealed their work to the world when it was ready. That's the power of keeping these 5 things to yourself. It's not about hiding or being dishonest. It's about giving yourself the space and freedom to experiment, to fail, to learn, and to grow without the pressure of external expectations or judgments. How do you actually go about keeping these things private in a world that seems to demand constant sharing? You need to get comfortable with the idea that you don't owe an explanation for your life choices. Your dreams, your finances, your struggles, your plans, your relationships. These are yours and yours alone. You have the right to keep them private. You need to develop what I like to call a mental firewall. This is an internal filter that helps you decide what information to share and what to keep to yourself. Before you speak or post or tweet, ask yourself, does sharing this serve my goals? Does it contribute to my growth? Or am I just seeking validation or attention? You need to find healthy outlets for your thoughts and feelings. Just because you're not sharing everything with the world doesn't mean you should bottle it all up inside. Consider keeping a journal where you can freely express yourself without fear of judgment. Or find a trusted mentor or coach who can provide guidance without compromising your privacy. You need to learn the art of deflection. When people ask probing questions about these 5 areas of your life, have a few go-to responses ready. I'm still figuring that out, or I prefer to keep that private, are perfectly acceptable answers. Remember, you are not being rude by maintaining your boundaries. You are being wise. Perhaps most importantly, you need to focus on actions rather than words. Instead of talking about your dreams, work silently towards them. Instead of discussing your finances, manage them responsibly. Instead of sharing your struggles, overcome them privately. Instead of announcing your next big move, prepare for it diligently. Instead of boasting about your inner circle, nurture those relationships with care and discretion. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but isn't it lonely? Don't we need support and encouragement from others? And you are absolutely right. We are social creatures, and we do need connection and support. But here's the key. It's not about isolating yourself completely. It's about being selective about what you share and with whom you share it. Imagine you are building a house. You wouldn't invite the whole neighborhood over to watch you lay the foundation, would you? You wouldn't ask for their opinion on every nail you hammer or every wall you raise. No, you would work with a small team of trusted professionals, and you would only invite people over once the house was ready. Your life, your dreams, your growth, they're like that house. You are the architect, the builder, the designer. You get to decide who's part of your construction crew and who has to wait for the housewarming party. When you finally do reveal your work to the world, when you finally do achieve that goal or make that big move, the impact is so much greater because people don't see the messy process, the doubts, the setbacks. They just see the result, and that result, it looks like magic to them. That's the power of keeping these 5 things to yourself. It allows you to create your own magic, undistracted by the noise and opinions of the world. Now, this approach isn't about being secretive or mysterious for the sake of it. It's not about creating an artificial aura of success. It's about giving yourself the space and freedom to grow, to experiment, to fail, and to succeed on your own terms. It's about understanding that your journey is unique and that not everyone needs to understand or approve of every step you take. It's about recognizing that the most important conversations you will ever have are the ones you have with yourself. The last time you achieved something significant, maybe you got a promotion or launched a successful project or reached a personal goal. How did it feel in those moments before you told anyone? There was a special kind of joy there, wasn't there? A quiet pride, a sense of personal satisfaction that was just for you. That feeling, my friends, is what we're trying to protect and nurture, because that feeling is the true reward of your hard work. It's the inner knowing that you have done something remarkable, regardless of whether the world recognizes it or not. When you stop seeking constant validation from others, when you stop sharing every detail of your journey, you actually become more attractive to others. People are drawn to those who have an air of quiet confidence, who seem to have a rich inner life that's not on display for all to see. You become like a book that people can't wait to read, rather than a billboard that shouts its message to anyone who listens. You become intriguing, compelling, someone who others want to know more about. But remember, this isn't about playing games or creating a false image. It's about being so focused on your own growth, so committed to your own journey, that you don't have time or energy to constantly update the world on your progress. It's about understanding that true success, true fulfillment, comes from within. It comes from knowing that you are staying true to your values, that you are working towards your goals, that you are becoming the person you want to be, regardless of whether anyone else sees it or not. So, as we wrap up our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to practice keeping these 5 things to yourself. Your dreams and goals, your finances, your personal struggles, your next big move, and the details of your inner circle. Instead of sharing, I want you to channel that energy into action. Instead of talking about your dreams, take one small step towards them every day. Instead of discussing your finances, make one wise decision about money each day. Instead of sharing your struggles, spend time each day working to overcome them. Instead of announcing your next big move, spend time preparing for it. And instead of talking about your relationships, invest time and energy in nurturing. At the end of those 30 days, take stock of how you feel. I bet you will find that you have more energy, more focus, more clarity about your path forward, I bet you will find that you are making more progress, feeling more confident, and attracting more positive opportunities into your life. My friends, your life is not a show for others to watch. It's not a performance for the world to judge. It's a deeply personal, incredibly powerful journey of becoming the best version of yourself. And that journey, it deserves to be protected. It deserves to be nurtured in private, away from the prying eyes and opinions of others. Because when you give yourself that space, when you honor your own process, that's when the real magic happens. That's when you start to see changes you never thought possible. That's when you start to achieve things you never dreamed you could. That's when you become the person you were always meant to be. So go forth, my friends. Guard your dreams. Protect your finances. Face your struggles privately. Plan your moves in secret. Cherish your inner circle. Do these things and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Remember, the caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly overnight. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes privacy. But when it finally spreads its wings, the whole world stops to admire its beauty. You are that caterpillar. Your dreams, your struggles, your plans, they're your cocoon. Honor them. Protect them. And when the time is right, when you have done the work in private, spread your wings and show the world the beautiful butterfly you have become. Thank you. And remember, your greatest power lies in what you choose not to share. Use it wisely, use it well, and watch as your life transforms beyond your wildest dreams. If you're not where you want to be in life right now, it's not because of the economy, it's not because of your boss, and it's not because you haven't caught your big break yet. It's because you've been lying to yourself every morning for years. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll exercise next week, you'll read that book next month, you'll work on your goals next year. Meanwhile, the people who are getting the results you want or doing what you keep promising yourself you'll do someday, they're not waiting for motivation. They're not waiting for the perfect moment, and they're certainly not waiting for someone to give you permission. While you're making excuses about why you can't spend 1 hour on yourself each morning, they're building the life you only dream about. The uncomfortable truth is that your excuses are more creative than your solution. Let me tell you something that will change your life forever. The first hour of your day determines the quality of the next 23 hours. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone, rush to get ready, grab a cup of coffee, and wonder why their life feels out of control. They're programming their mind for chaos before their feet even hit the floor. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was 25, broke, and working as a stock clerk, my days started in panic. I'd wake up stressed about bills, worried about my future, and filled with doubt about whether I'd ever amount to anything. My mentor, Earl Schoaf, asked me a simple question that changed everything. He said, "Jim, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?" When I told him I usually worried about money, he shook his head and said, "Son, you're programming your mind for poverty before breakfast." That conversation led me to understand something powerful. Your mind is like a garden, and the first hour of your day is like the morning watering. Whatever you feed it will grow throughout the day. Feed it worry, and worry grows. Feed it doubt, and doubt multiplies. But feed it the right things, and your entire life transforms. I'll never forget the day I decided to change my morning routine. I was tired of being tired, tired of being broke, tired of feeling like life was happening to me instead of for me. I made a decision that morning routines weren't just for successful people. They were how people become successful. That single decision changed everything for me, and it can change everything for you too. Think about this for a moment. You spend about 1/3 of your life sleeping. When you wake up, your mind is fresh, clear, and ready to be programmed. This is the most valuable real estate in your entire day. Yet most people give this precious time away to whoever screams the loudest. The news media gets it, social media gets it, other people's emergencies get it. Everyone gets your best mental real estate except you. Here's what most people don't understand about success. It's not about one big moment or one lucky break. Success is about what you do consistently. day after day, especially in those quiet morning moments when nobody's watching. The most successful people I know don't have special talents or secret advantages. They have better morning routine. I've studied successful people for over 40 years. Millionaires, business leaders, athletes, artists, and people who've achieved extraordinary things in ordinary circumstances. They all have different backgrounds, different skills, and different opportunities, but they all have one thing in common. They guard their mornings like their life depends on it, because it does. Your brain is incredibly powerful, but it's also incredibly programmable. Every morning you have a choice. You can program it for success or program it for struggle. You can rewire it for abundance or let it stay wired for scarcity. The choice is always yours, but you have to make it consciously, deliberately, and consistently. Most people let their mornings happen by accident. They wake up whenever they wake up. They do whatever feels urgent. They react to whatever shows up first. Then they wonder why their whole life feels random and out of control. Your morning sets the tone for your entire day, and your days determine your entire life. Today I want to share with you 5 simple things you can do every morning that will completely rewire your mind. These aren't complicated strategies or expensive programs. They're simple practices that anyone can do, but most people won't. That's why most people live ordinary lives, while a few live extraordinary ones. But before I share these 5 practices, let me warn you about something. Knowledge without application is worthless. Information without implementation changes nothing. You can learn these 5 things, understand them completely, and even teach them to others. But if you don't do them consistently, they won't work for you. Success requires action, not just information. The first thing you must do every morning is feed your mind with something valuable. I call this mental nutrition, and it's just as important as physical nutrition. Maybe more important. Your mind is hungry when you wake up. It's been resting for 8 hours, and now it's ready to absorb whatever you give it. Most people feed their mind junk first thing in the morning. They check social media and fill their head with other people's problems. They turn on the news and load up on negativity, fear, and things they can't control. They grab their phone and start their day reacting to what everyone else thinks is important. This is like eating candy for breakfast and wondering why you feel sick by lunch. Let me tell you what happens when you start your day with mental junk food. Your mood drops before you even get dressed. Your confidence shrinks before you face your first challenge. Your focus scatters before you tackle your most important work. You're programming yourself for a day of reaction instead of action, weakness instead of strength, confusion instead of clarity. I see people everywhere walking around like zombies, staring at their phones, consuming endless streams of information that makes them feel worse about themselves and their lives. They're addicted to the drama, the outrage, the constant stimulation of other people's opinions. They think they're staying informed, but they're actually staying overwhelmed. Here's what I learned from Earl Schoaf about information consumption. He said, Jim, your mind is like a fertile garden. Whatever seeds you plant will grow. Plant corn, get corn. Plant weeds, get weeds. Most people are planting mental weeds every morning and wondering why their life looks like a weed patch. Instead, feed your mind something that will make you stronger, wiser, and more capable. Read something that inspires you. Study something that teaches you. Listen to something that motivates you. Spend at least 15 minutes, preferably 30, putting valuable thoughts into your head before you put anything else in there. I've been reading every morning for over 40 years. Not because I have to, but because I know what it does for me. It sets the tone for my entire day. When I read something that challenges me to grow, something that teaches me a new way to think, or something that reminds me of what's possible, I start my day as a different person than I was the night before. Reading is like taking a mental shower. It washes away the residue of yesterday's problems and fills your mind with fresh ideas, new possibilities, and proven wisdom. It connects you with the greatest minds in history. It gives you access to knowledge that took others years to acquire and lifetimes to master. Here's what happens when you read consistently. Your vocabulary improves so you can express yourself better. Your knowledge increases so you can solve problems more effectively. Your perspective expands so you can see opportunities others miss. Your confidence grows so you can take action when others hesitate. All of this from 30 minutes of reading each morning. But here's the key. Don't read just anything. Read books that make you better. Read biographies of people you admire. Read books about personal development, leadership, or your chosen field. Read philosophy that challenges you to think deeper. Read success stories that show you what's possible. Make every page count. I remember when I first started this practice, I was broke and thought I couldn't afford books. Earl Schoaf told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Jim, if you can't afford to buy books, you can't afford not to buy books." He was right. The cost of ignorance is far higher than the cost of education. Think about it this way. A good book costs about the same as a meal at a restaurant. But a meal satisfies you for a few hours. A good book can satisfy you for a lifetime. It can change how you think, what you believe, and what you do. It can open doors you never knew existed and show you paths you never knew were possible. Some people say they don't have time to read, but they have time to scroll through social media for hours. They have time to watch television shows that add nothing to their life. They have time to gossip about other people's problems. The truth is, everyone has time. The question is, how are you choosing to invest it? Here's my challenge for you. For the next 30 days, don't check your phone, turn on the television, or consume any news until after you've fed your mind with something valuable. Start with just 15 minutes. Read something that inspires you, teaches you, or challenges you to become better. Watch what happens to your day, your week, your entire life. The second thing you must do is move your body. I don't care if it's push-ups, stretching, walking, or a full workout. Get your blood flowing and your heart pumping. Your body and mind are connected in ways most people don't understand. When you strengthen your body, you strengthen your mind. When you discipline your body, you build mental discipline. Physical activity releases chemicals in your brain that make you feel better, think clearer, and handle stress more effectively. It builds confidence because you're keeping promises to yourself. It creates energy that lasts throughout the day. It reminds you that you're in control of your life. Here's something most people don't realize about successful people. They're not necessarily the smartest people in the room. They're not always the most talented or the most educated, but they almost always have more energy than everyone else. Energy is the foundation of all achievement. Without energy, knowledge is useless. Without energy, good intentions become empty promises. I've noticed something interesting over the years. The people who exercise regularly seem to handle pressure better than those who don't. They stay calm in crisis situations. They think more clearly under stress. They bounce back faster from setbacks. It's not just because they're physically stronger. It's because they've trained their mind to push through resistance. Every time you exercise when you don't feel like it, you're building mental toughness. Every time you complete a workout when you'd rather stay in bed, you're proving to yourself that you can do hard things. This confidence carries over into every area of your life. You start believing you can overcome any obstacle, achieve any goal, become any person you decide to become. You don't need a gym membership or expensive equipment. You can do jumping jacks in your living room. You can walk around your neighborhood. You can stretch on your bedroom floor. You can do push-ups against the wall. You can run up and down your stairs. The key is consistency, not intensity. Start small and build gradually. 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes. I remember when I first started exercising regularly, I was out of shape and embarrassed about how weak I'd become. I could barely do 10 push-ups without getting winded. But I made a commitment to myself. I would do something physical every morning, even if it was just for 5 minutes. Some days I did push-ups. Some days I stretched. Some days I just walked around the block. The amazing thing wasn't how my body changed, although it did. The amazing thing was how my mind changed. I started feeling more confident in business meetings. I had more energy for my family. I slept better at night. I handled stress more effectively. I felt like I could tackle bigger challenges and pursue bigger dreams. Here's what exercise does for your brain that most people don't know. It increases blood flow to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. It releases endorphins, which are natural mood elevators. It reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that clouds your thinking. It promotes the growth of new brain cells and strengthens the connections between them. I've exercised almost every morning for decades, not because I love it every day, but because I love how it makes me feel and think. When I exercise in the morning, I'm sharper in meetings, more patient with people, and more creative in my work. My body feels better and my mind works better. The third thing is to fuel your body properly. What you eat and drink in the morning affects your energy, mood, and mental clarity. 4 hours. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy, and it needs quality fuel to function at its best. Start with water. Your body is dehydrated after 8 hours of sleep, and even mild dehydration affects your thinking. Most people don't realize they're walking around dehydrated most of the time. They feel tired, foggy, and sluggish, and they think it's normal. But often, they just need more water. Drink at least 1 large glass of water before you consume anything else. Some people like to add lemon for vitamin C and flavor. Some people prefer room temperature water. Others like it cold. The temperature doesn't matter as much as the habit. Hydration is the foundation of physical and mental performance. Then eat something that gives you sustained energy, not a sugar rush followed by a crash. Your brain needs steady fuel to function at its best. When your blood sugar spikes and drops, your thinking becomes erratic. You feel energized for an hour, then tired and hungry. You make poor decisions when you're hungry, and you're hungry when you eat the wrong foods. I'm not a nutritionist, but I know this much: protein helps you feel full and focused. It provides the building blocks for neurotransmitters, the chemicals that allow your brain cells to communicate. Complex carbohydrates give you steady energy without the roller coaster effect of simple sugars. Healthy fats support brain function and help you absorb important vitamins. Simple sugars make you tired and hungry an hour later. They cause your blood sugar to spike, then crash. When your blood sugar crashes, your thinking becomes cloudy, your mood becomes irritable, and your willpower weakens. You make poor decisions when your brain isn't getting steady fuel. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent with good choices. You don't have to eat the same thing every day or follow a complicated plan. Just make sure you're giving your body and brain the fuel they need to perform at their best. Here's what I've learned about nutrition and success. Successful people don't necessarily eat perfectly, but they eat intentionally. They think about how food will affect their performance, not just how it tastes. They choose foods that give them energy instead of foods that drain their energy. They eat to fuel their dreams, not to satisfy their emotions. The fourth thing you must do is review your goals and visualize your success. Most people set goals once a year and then forget about them. That's like planting a garden and never watering it. Goals need daily attention to become reality. Every morning, read your goals out loud, not just once, but regularly enough that they become part of your subconscious programming. When you read your goals daily, several things happen. You stay focused on what matters most. You notice opportunities that align with your objectives. You make decisions that move you closer to your desired outcomes. Here's something most people don't understand about goals. Writing them down once isn't enough. Reading them occasionally isn't enough. You have to program them into your subconscious mind through daily repetition. Your subconscious mind is like a powerful computer that works 24 hours a day. But it can only work on what you program into it. I learned this from studying the most successful people I could find. They all had one thing in common. They knew exactly what they wanted, and they reminded themselves of it every single day. Not just the big goals, but the smaller ones too. Not just the financial targets, but the personal growth objectives. Not just what they wanted to have, but who they wanted to become. Most people's goals are vague wishes. They want to be successful, but they can't define what success looks like. They want to be happy, but they don't know what would make them happy. They want to make more money, but they don't have a specific target. Vague goals produce vague results. Specific goals produce specific results. Your goals should be written down, specific, measurable, and reviewed daily. They should include deadlines and action steps. They should be challenging enough to inspire you, but realistic enough to achieve. They should be your goals, not someone else's expectations for you. But don't just read your goals, see them happening in your mind. Spend a few minutes visualizing yourself achieving what you want to achieve. See yourself living the life you want to live. Feel the emotions you'll feel when you reach your destination. This isn't wishful thinking, this is mental rehearsal. Athletes use visualization to improve performance. They see themselves making the perfect shot, running the perfect race, or executing the perfect play. Surgeons use it to practice complex procedures in their mind before they perform them. Successful people use it to program their minds for success. When you visualize consistently, something amazing happens. Your brain starts to believe that what you're seeing is real. It begins to look for ways to make your mental pictures become physical reality. It notices opportunities that support your goals. It gives you ideas for achieving what you want. It builds confidence in your ability to succeed. I've been doing this practice for so long that my goals feel more real to me than my current circumstances. When you program your mind consistently with clear pictures of what you want, you start moving toward those pictures automatically. Your behavior changes. Your decisions improve. Your confidence grows. But here's the key to effective visualization. Don't just see the end result. See yourself doing the work necessary to achieve the result. See yourself taking the actions, making the calls, having the conversations, and overcoming the obstacles. See yourself being the person you need to be to achieve. The fifth and most important thing is to practice gratitude and positive self-talk. How you talk to yourself determines how you feel about yourself. And how you feel about yourself determines what you do with yourself. Start each day by acknowledging what you're grateful for, not just the big things, but the small things too. Your health, your family, your opportunities, your ability to learn and grow. Gratitude changes your entire perspective. When you focus on what you have, you attract more good things into your life. When you focus on what you lack, you attract more problems. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. The stronger it becomes, the more you notice things to be grateful for. Most people take their blessings for granted until they lose them. Don't wait until you lose something to appreciate it. Appreciate it now while you still have it. I've met people who have very little but are incredibly happy. I've also met people who have everything but are miserable. The difference isn't what they have. The difference is what they focus on. Happy people focus on what they have. Unhappy people focus on what they lack. Here's what happens when you practice gratitude consistently. Your mood improves. Your relationships get better. Your health benefits. Your work performance increases. Your creativity expands. Your problems seem smaller. Your opportunities seem bigger. Your life becomes more enjoyable. Then talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you care about. Encourage yourself. Remind yourself of your capabilities. Acknowledge your progress. Affirm your commitment to growth and success. Your self-talk becomes your reality, so make it positive and powerful. Most people are their own worst enemy. They talk to themselves in ways they would never talk to a friend. They criticize themselves constantly. They focus on their mistakes instead of their progress. They remind themselves of their failures instead of their successes. They program themselves for mediocrity instead of excellence. I learned this from studying successful people. They all have something in common. They talk to themselves better than unsuccessful people do. They encourage themselves instead of criticizing themselves. They focus on possibilities instead of problems. They program their minds for success instead of failure. Your self-talk is the most important conversation you'll have all day. It determines your mood, your confidence, your actions, and your results. Make sure it's working for you, not against you. Make sure it's building you up, not tearing you down. Here's what happens when you combine all 5 of these practices. Reading feeds your mind with valuable information. Exercise strengthens your body and builds discipline. Proper nutrition gives you sustained energy and mental clarity. Goal review and visualization program your subconscious for success. Gratitude and positive self-talk create the right emotional state for achievement. These 5 practices work together like instruments in an orchestra. Each one is valuable by itself, but together they create something beautiful and powerful. They rewire your brain for success, happiness, and achievement. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Jim, this sounds like a lot to do every morning. I don't have time for all of this. Let me tell you something about time. You don't find time for what matters. You make time for what matters. And nothing matters more than programming your mind for success. These 5 practices take about an hour total. Reading for 30 minutes, exercise for 15 minutes, proper breakfast for 10 minutes, goal review and visualization for 5 minutes. That's 1 hour out of 24. Most people spend more time than that watching television or scrolling through social media. But here's the real truth about time. When you start your day with these practices, you don't lose time, you gain time. You think clearer, so you make better decisions faster. You have more energy, so you get more done. You're more focused, so you waste less time on things that don't matter. You're more confident, so you take action instead of hesitating. The investment you make in your morning routine pays dividends all day long. It's like compound interest for your personal development. Small actions taken consistently create extraordinary results over time. I want to challenge you to try this for 30 days. Not 30 days of perfection, but 30 days of consistent effort. Some mornings will be better than others. Some days you might only have time for 3 of the 5 practices. That's okay. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Here's what will happen if you accept this challenge. The first week, you'll feel different. You'll have more energy, think more clearly, and feel more positive about your life. The second week, other people will start noticing changes in you. You'll be more confident, more focused, and more optimistic. The third week, you'll start seeing results in your work, relationships, and personal goals. By the 4th week, you won't want to stop because you'll realize you've found something powerful. But here's the warning. This only works if you work it. These aren't magic formulas that work by themselves. They're tools that become powerful when you use them consistently. You can't read about exercise and get stronger. You can't think about gratitude and feel grateful. You have to do the work. Most people know what to do, but don't do what they know. They collect information, but don't apply it. They attend seminars, buy books, and make plans, but they don't change their daily habits. Don't let that be you. Take what you've learned today and use it tomorrow morning. Your life will change when your mornings change. Your mornings will change when you decide they must change. That decision is the starting point of all achievement, all success, and all personal transformation. I've shared with you today what took me years to learn and decades to master. These 5 morning practices have been the foundation of every success I've achieved, every goal I've reached, and every dream I've turned into reality. They can do the same for you, but only if you make them part of your life. The alarm clock will ring tomorrow morning just like it always does, but tomorrow morning can be different if you decide to make it different. You can wake up and do what you've always done, or you can wake up and begin the process of becoming who you've always wanted to be. The choice is yours. The power is in your hands. The time is now. Your extraordinary life is waiting for you on the other side of an extraordinary morning routine. Don't let another day pass without taking action on what you know is right. Start tomorrow. Start with just one of these practices if you have to, but start. Your future self will thank you for the investment you make in these quiet morning moments. This is me reminding you that you have the power to change your life by changing your mornings. The question is, will you use that power? Your success starts tomorrow at sunrise. Make it count.